Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
The Rays' revamped bullpen paid big dividends yesterday in the Bronx, tossing 5 scoreless innings, wrapping up the series in New York with a 5-3 victory. Tonight, they venture deep into the heart of Texas, where the big league's hottest hitter, Jose Altuve, and the AL West leading Astros await. We welcome you to the Bayou City of Houston, Texas. Tonight, where the Rays continue their 2-city road trip and begin a 4-game series between the Rays and the Houston Astros. Starting play tonight in the American League East, the Rays salvaging the final game of the series in New York, running 3.5 back of the Yankees. Boston holding down the number 2 spot a half game back. For Houston in the West, they've never had a record this good this late in the season in the history of their franchise. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Alex Cordry will be along in just a while. Well, if you think the month of July has been hot, wait till you get a load of Jose Altuve, and Alex Cobb is the guy who's going to try to stop all that. And Alex, as you know, has been very good in his last 9 starts.
It goes back to the beginning of June for Alex Cobb. June the 9th. There have been 9 starts made by Alex since then, and wait till you get a load of these numbers. 5-1 record, an ERA of 2.24, and the opponent's batting average of just 195. Those are ace-like numbers, and I'll tell you something else. The other thing that he's doing that's very ace-like is getting deep into games. In these 9 starts, he is averaging over 7 innings a start, and he just continues to get it done. The fastball, the curveball, the split change is coming around, and he's using and pitching them both sides of the plate with great success. Jose Altuve, this is what you're talking about, Dwayne. This guy, the month of July, somebody needs to try to slow him down because the numbers are 46 out of 95, 484 batting average, and you see these highlights right here. He is hitting everything, everywhere. You want to come in, he'll turn on it. You want to pitch him away, he'll shoot you the other way. So right now, Jose Altuve is locked in. You'd like to see Alex Cobb early on make him a little bit uncomfortable.
Well, the non-waiver wire trading deadline has come and gone, and there was a flurry of action. And when we come back, Alex Cordry will detail some of the major moves before the deadline.
On Fox Sports Sun, and cue the collective sigh of relief around Major League Baseball because the trade deadline has come and gone. And the big news coming down just a few hours ago as the Rays made one more move right at the trade deadline. Tampa Bay has sent Tim Beckham to the Baltimore Orioles in exchange for a minor league right-handed pitcher in Tobias Myers from Winter Haven. It was surprising news for Beckham. He's very thankful to the Rays organization, but he's ready for his new journey in Baltimore.
Shocked, you know, been with one organization my entire career, so just happy to get the opportunity to play every day here this year, and we've been having a good year as a team, and wish them the best of luck, and appreciate fans that's been supporting me throughout the whole way, and like I said, appreciate the front office giving me the opportunity to play every day this year, and it's on to a new chapter.
For him to be able to kind of break out this year and have a good year has been fun to watch. He's been a great teammate, and I hope that the trade works out best for him. You know, I hope that you know, they have plans for him over there. You know, he can be an everyday player and hopefully continue to break out and have finish a great year.
So as the dust settles, Tampa Bay saddles up eyeing the postseason, and Rays manager Kevin Cash says the team is better than it was 10 days ago, which will all be put to the test as the Rays get ready to face the best team in the American League, the Houston Astros.
All set to play baseball tonight in Houston. The road trip continues for the Rays. Take a quick look at the starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers, Dickerson, Duda, and Longoria. Morrison, Souza Jr., and Miller, followed by Ramos, Smith, and Echeverria. Here is the first pitch of this game from the right-hander Charlie Morton, and he misses with a fastball outside. A ball, no strikes. Dickerson starting the night, hitting an even 300. Pitch is wide, 2-0.
Charlie Morton having a nice season here for the Houston Astros, making his 15th start. He was out from the end of May until early July with a strained right lat, but overall 8-4, 3.83 earned run average in 82 and a third innings.
And he promptly falls behind Dickerson. 3 balls and no strikes.
Trying to nibble on that outside corner with a good sinking and running fastball, and then yanked one in. Rays have a good opportunity here, a good count to work with. Get the leadoff man aboard.
And there is ball 4. So 4 straight misses, and the Rays have a base runner.
Let's take a look at the Astro defense, brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield left to right, we have Carlos Beltran. He didn't get his glove back, so he's going to be able to play out there. Jake Marisnick and Derek Fisher across the infield, third to first. Yuli Gurriel, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, and Tyler White with Brian McCann back behind the plate.
Yeah, Beltran had to dig it up, though.
He did.
That glove. They buried it, actually buried it.
That was funny. That was one of those, in the middle of a season, you go out and they laid Carlos Beltran's glove to rest, but turns out he would need it once again.
So Lucas Duda up here now with Dickerson at first, nobody out. Duda coming to the Rays from the Mets and swinging the bat well. There's another miss by Morton, 2 wide. It's 1-0.
Well, he just cannot find the release point. Obviously, those balls that are staying arm side off the plate, he's not able to get out in front and through, and then all of a sudden tries to make the adjustment and come in, and he's pulling that pitch.
And he picks up a strike on the breaking ball right there.
Did he? It was called a strike, but that ball looked to start off the plate, stay off the plate, and it gets called anyway.
Well, and here's the thing about Will Little, who's calling balls and strikes. He favors a big strike zone. So if you can't throw strikes with him back there, there's an issue.
Listen, I think the last time he was behind the plate, he threw out like half of the Toronto Blue Jays. He was firing people off left and right. Stroman got thrown out. Russell Martin got thrown out. John Gibbons got thrown out by Will Little. They weren't too happy with how wide it got.
Well, he can use that right arm. It's the heave ho.
Yeah.
2-1 to Duda. And now 3 balls and a strike. And if you look at the plate there and the pitches he's thrown, he has really yet to find the strike zone.
No, you can see him out there trying to make the adjustment. And so when he wants to go down and away to the left-handed hitter, he's not, reaching far enough. Then he tries to make the adjustment, come in on them. He's pulling it. Now he's missing down. Just cannot find the sweet spot to get the ball into the zone consistently. It's not how you want to come out against the Rays early on. Good first inning team.
Oh, a strike called at the knees. So the count is full. On deck, Evan Longoria. Duda fouls it back. When you look at the Rays lineup and prior matchups against Morton, was he just trying to find the zone, but Dickerson was 5 of 12 against him coming in. Duda 3 hits off him, including a double. Longoria 2 for 6. Morrison behind him 4 for 9, and so it goes. Let's see what the Rays can do here in the first.
Well, here's the other thing too. If I'm Brian McCann, I stay on the plate. You can see with Charlie Morton's arm angle, he gets natural movement. I would not be setting up on the outside corner. It's just going to run off the plate again.
And a cut and a miss. So he strikes out Duda.
And he comes with a breaking ball. That's a gutsy pitch right there, but also a very smart pitch, because I'm sure that Lucas Duda, with a guy struggling with command, doesn't want to walk back-to-back guys. You're sitting on the heater, and he gives you the breaking ball, and it was a good one.
So 1 on with 1 out. Here's Evan Longoria. over to first, and Dickerson is back in. The Rays faced Morton back in April on the 22nd at the Trop and beat him 6-3. They scored 5 runs in 5+ innings off him. Had 8 hits in that game. And there's a strike on the outside corner. Longoria had 2 hits, 2 doubles, and 2 runs batted in that game against Morton. And that's a strike right at the bottom.
So 2 nasty breaking balls right there to Evan Longoria. I don't think that he's very happy with those being called, but right at the bottom of the zone. Those are good pitches. Those are just perfect pitches.
Down and in, a fastball. 1-2.
One thing you have to worry about with Charlie Morton is keeps the ball down in the zone. He will elevate from time to time, but good late movement, gets a lot of ground balls. And so always has that double play in order.
Yeah, his ground ball rate somewhere just south of 52%. And a cut to miss. He strikes out Longoria with a fastball.
You know, this is what's different about Charlie Morton. Coming into this season, he had, you know, a strikeout per 9 rate of just over 6.5 per 9. And this year he's over, I think it's 10. And he is 7th in the American League in strikeout rate. Good velocity on the fastball, but he's learning how to put guys away.
Well, he came into this game with 92 strikeouts in just over 82 innings. And now it's Logan Morrison. One.
You can see why he is so tough against left-handed hitters, and we'll get into those numbers later. But see how he's able to take that breaking ball and start it off the plate away and still get that sharp break to the outside corner. I mean, you almost can't reach it.
Yeah, and there was a time, he's not necessarily doing it now, but there was a time earlier this year he was throwing more breaking balls to left-handed hitters than fastballs.
And when you see these breaking balls that he's throwing here to Logan Morrison, I believe it. Why wouldn't you? I mean, that's a nasty pitch that it just starts so far away from you, and he breaks it to the outside corner. He can command it like that.
Dickerson at first. He walked. Strikeouts of Duda and Longoria have followed. And Morrison down 0-2. Oh, strike 3 called on a fastball. Caught him looking. A walk and 3 strikeouts. And we go to the bottom of the first. Scoreless. Opening game of this 4-game series. Here's the lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Houston will have Derek Fisher leading off in right field. Jose Altuve hits second. Yuli Gurriel at third base tonight, hitting third. Brian McCann behind the plate. Evan Gattis is the DH. Carlos Beltran in the left field. Alex Bregman at shortstop. Kyler White, who, by the way, pitched yesterday, closed out their game in a manner of speaking. He's hitting eighth, playing first, and Jake Marisnick is in center field, batting ninth.
Well, for Alex Cobb, it's all about looking for double digits, and he's making his 22nd start, looking for that 10th win. ERA 3.46, and he's coming off a very nice outing against the Baltimore Orioles. 7 innings, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot in picking up that 9th win.
And he will start tonight by facing Derek Fisher. Young outfielder hitting .278. He's been in 10 games with Houston. 23 years old, out of Virginia. And he takes the pitch for a strike. Fisher projected by the Astros as a starting major league outfielder. They're down a couple of their big stars. Liner into left, and it's caught by Dickerson.
Derek Fisher ran halfway up the baseline and then just peeled right into the dugout. That ball got out on Corey Dickerson so quickly. That was a nice little route taken by Fisher. Let's take a look at that Rays defense, brought to you by our very dear friends at Golden Diamond Source. And in the outfield, left to right, we've got Dickerson, Malik Smith, and Steven Souza Jr. And across that infield, third to first, Longoria, Echeverria, Brad Miller, and Lucas Duda, with Wilson Ramos back behind the plate.
Well, here's Altuve. He's leading the major leagues in hitting at .361 and .484 for the month of July. Pitch is outside to him. 1 ball, no strikes. Could you be any hotter than this guy? I don't think so.
We went over those numbers in the open. .484 is the batting average in July. This is what gets you. His month of July batting average against lefties, .400. Pretty good. His batting average against right-handed pitching this month, .523. .520. I mean, someone tell this guy this is not a video game. This is real life.
And a ground ball foul outside the third. It's 2-1.
He's making a mockery of the game right now and hitting everything. You know, we saw in that little montage of all of his highlights, you know, fastball up and away, he can shoot you with power to the right side. If you try to come in on him, he's got a super quick bat. He can turn and burn and lace things into left field. He'll use the middle of the field with 2 strikes. That's why Alex Cobb, that's exactly how you pitch a guy that's hot, all over the place.
Oh, look out, up and in. 3-1.
What did we say? What did we say? You'd like to see Alex Cobb early on make Altuve a little uncomfortable. Well, that may be too close to the head, but that'll make you uncomfortable. It's exactly what we're talking about. Pitch a guy up and in.
Well, he is hitting over .500 against right-handed pitching. And he sends it into center field. That's going to drop in front of Malik Smith.
You know, Jim Hickey, we were talking last night on the plane, and he was saying, listen, Jose Altuve, there's no question that he's red hot right now. But he said almost everything he makes contact with and puts in play is falling in. He hits a ball hard, it's going to fall in. It's going to find a hole. You hit a ball soft, 3-1, you take that kind of contact. But drops it right in front of Alex Smith out in center field.
He's closing in on 150 hits. Still 2 months to go. I think that's 147 for him now. There's Gurriel taking a strike. Yeah, there you are. He has 20 more than Eric Hosmer next on that hit list. starts to go. Checked in time. Alex Cobb would like to check with Jeff Kellogg down at first. It's a ball, and Gurriel with a 1-1 count. Quick move to first. And don't forget, Cobb has 5 pickoffs this year.
And he's gotten some good base stealers too. He's one of the guys that have all 3 of the elements needed for a righty to have a good pickoff move. Quick feet, short arm action, accurate throw.
This one popped up. Miller out from second base is there, and he makes the catch, immediately turns to look at first. Altuve is back there. Gurriel is retired. So 2 outs with a runner on. And here is a challenge for Alex Cobb. Brian McCann. McCann is 8 for 15 against Cobb. Overall, hitting .243.
The only thing that you can say about Alex Cobb in this matchup is that McCann is going to get a little bit different version of Alex Cobb, leaning more heavily on the curveball as opposed to the split change.
The first one stays up and away. Curveball didn't bite much.
No, and you know what? And when you throw the spike curveball, that is going to happen every now and then. The grip is so.
There goes the runner. Pitches high. Throw down is not in time. Echeverria taking the throw from Ramos, and Altuve has his 22nd stolen base of the year.
Trying to get into scoring position here. Got another breaking ball. And that one hung up there too. And Ramos comes out firing to Echeverria, but that foot just does get to the front of the bag before the throw. A little bit to the shortstop side of the bag, and Echeverria's got to reach all the way back, and that allowed Altuve to get in there.
So with 2 outs, Houston with a man in scoring position. That's a strike. Bottom part of the zone.
In talking about that spike curveball, you know, you've got your index finger pointed right onto the top of the baseball, and then you're only holding it with the middle finger and the thumb. So every now and then that ball's gonna squirt out and kind of stay up and away like the last 2 have.
This one too low, covered up by Ramos. Now 3-1. Cobb coming off his start Wednesday against Baltimore, gave up a run on 4 hits in 7 innings en route to a 5-1 win. Three-one pitch. Ground ball right side. Short right, and Miller's there, the Rays' second baseman, to handle that. A man left. We go to the second. No score. Brought to you by T-Mobile. And beating the trading deadline, the New York Yankees acquiring Sonny Gray from the Oakland A's. And Yu Darvish goes from the Texas Rangers to the Dodgers. So the Dodgers trying to shore up their starting pitching and taking a little pressure off Clayton Kershaw. And the Yankees adding the arm with Sonny Gray. Steven Souza Jr. takes the first pitch for a strike. A fastball. Tap foul off Souza's foot. He'll try to walk that one off.
And you will see that a lot off Charlie Morton. The way that he's able to run that fastball in on righties, especially when it's down. And try to get to it. Boy, he hammered that right off of his toe. That missed the padding and got the foot. Right, that exposed end.
One and two.
A little bit of trouble getting on the same page with Brian McCann. Charlie Morton looking to try to make a big pitch here in 1-2.
Souza Jr. fouls that one away. Another ball, 2 strikes.
Another fastball, and you're wondering, when is Charlie Morton going to go with that breaking ball? You've seen him try to sweep that thing down and away. It's been good backdoor to lefties. He'll try to keep that thing down and away to the righties. See if he finally goes there.
Yeah, how many times do you see a right-handed starter dominate left-handed hitters the way he has? 171 left-handed hitters off him, and right-handed hitters 287.
All righties, he stays pretty much with the fastball and the breaking ball, and so it becomes a little bit more predictable. But lefties, yeah, that number's pretty incredible, and that's 2 good takes there by Souza Jr.
And the count is full. Well, the Rays got a leadoff walk in the first from Corey Dickerson before Morton proceeded to strike out due to Longoria and Morrison. Now full count on Steven Souza Jr. And he strikes him out with a fastball. 4 consecutive strikeouts for Morton. And that's going to get Brad Miller and his left-handed bat up there. Here's the Toyota inside look. Just to make the point of how tough Morton has been against left-handed hitters in comparison. Sonny Gray, who just traded the Yankees, 3rd on that list at 222. Urban Santana 211. And then Charlie Morton in complete charge.
40 points. I mean, when you've got a 40-point difference between first and second.
The chop. Bregman at shortstop makes a throw to first. And that's close but out. A chopper. And Bregman had to charge that one. He spent a lot of time at third. This is his 6th start at shortstop with the injury to Correa. Correa's been out since the 18th of July. Out with the torn ligament in his thumb. Bregman scooting over there at night, or at shortstop tonight.
The Rays, they may be catching this team at the perfect time. For the injury that you just talked about, George Springer is not going to be a part of this series. They're going to miss Lance McCullers. He was put on the disabled list today. And they're going to get Dallas Keuchel. Okay, but this is just his 2nd start since coming off the disabled list. And he only went, I think, 3 innings his last time out. So if there's ever a time that you're going to go up against the Astros, this might be the time.
Pitch is down 2-0 just to underscore the point made there. Correa on the disabled list. He was hitting .320 at the time. Springer with that left quad issue, .310. And McCullers 7-3 overall and having some lower back issues. There's a strike on the outside corner. Frankly, there's some folks in Houston wondering if the Astros weren't going to make a deal to shore up, especially that starting pitching.
Yeah, they chose to stand pat, at least for now. I'm sure that they're going to be kicking trade ideas. The waiver trade deadline is starting, well, tomorrow, basically. But, yeah, there are a lot of people not real happy around these parts that they didn't do something. And I'm sure some of that anger resides in their own clubhouse.
That tends to happen, just without question. And so you have to address, if you're a club like that, and not only this Houston team, but other clubs, you have to be aware of that and address it. Ground ball out to second. Altuve with the scoop and the throw. 1, 2, 3, go the Rays. We're through an inning and a half. No score.
Astros now with Tim Beckham headed to the Baltimore Orioles. Second baseman Brad Miller is set for an everyday role. The Rays manager Kevin Cash said, "We got to get Miller going, and this is a clear path for him in order to do so." But Dwayne B.A., the other thing that stands out about Miller is he's got a new look out there on the field. The red beard is gone. Miller says that he took a lawnmower to it yesterday.
Yeah, it's sort of run its course, I think. And not only that, the lawnmower, but he used the edge clippers too.
Yeah. Oh,
he tidied up pretty good.
I mean, he brought the landscaping crew out, and they did a heck of a job. Because let's remember, that beard had gotten thick. That wasn't your, week's growth. That was a thick Viking-ish type beard. Although Brian McCann, Evan Gattis, they've got some impressive beards.
Strike the count on Gattis. He pops it up. Foul ball that will carry into the stands. And it's a 2-strike count right now.
I thought the Rays had made another deal. He was out there at second base. There's another impressive beard.
There's the beard.
Well, and you think about how much work goes into that thing. You catch that from the profile. And there is some serious work going in Keuchel's beard.
The interesting thing about beards, you grow them, you go, I won't have to shave. This will be really good, maintenance free. There's nothing that requires more maintenance than a beard once it's attached to you. Ground ball sharply hit the third. Longoria's throw to first, and Gattis is the first out.
Let me confirm that for you. Because you got to get the lines right. You got everything's got and if you start to chip away, you take a little bit too much on one side, and then you try to even it. It can be, it can be challenging from time to time.
Well, there's the before and after of the Rays second baseman Brad Miller.
Yeah, like I was saying, he was out at second base today working, and literally we're up here doing our homework, you know, getting prepared and make it like sound like we know what we're talking about. And I looked out there and I'm like, who's the new guy at second? He caught a line drive, like, who's that guy?
Made a deal.
I thought they did. They kind of did.
Sure.
Involving that position.
Yeah, Tim Beckham heads to Baltimore. There's a strike to Beltran. It's now 1-1. And as Alex mentioned, that's an opportunity now for Miller. The Rays are counting on him to get his bat in there. There's a shot deep the other way, and that ball is going to be off the wall out there as Beltran heads into second with a double. That's 25 feet high out there, so you really got to get under it to get it out. Yeah, that's a double for Beltran.
And it's left center field too. So you're talking about the, the roof being closed here. You've got 25 feet, 362 out there, but you really got to drill it. And Carlos Beltran certainly did. But that was not going to threaten to get out of here just by virtue of that swing, although he made it a lot closer than you thought. Thought it was going to get over Dickerson's head, but not maybe that far up the wall. But you know what that Tim Beckham trade does? And it's two parts for me. But maybe it allows Brad Miller to now settle in. You know, there's no platoon situation. There's
a shot to left by Bregman. That's going to be off the scoreboard. Dickerson will have to chase it back. Throw's going to come to second with the run scoring. And Houston takes a 1-0 lead on back-to-back two-base hits.
We don't talk about this place nearly as much as you talk about the Green Monster and how you play defense out in left field. But it's short out there, high wall. Absolutely, the theory is the same. The principle is the same. And what happened right there is Corey Dickerson initially thought that he could get to this ball, realized that he couldn't, and by that time he had gotten himself too close to the wall. There's a swing by Bregman. And Corey Dickerson initially thinks he's going to be able to get to it. Then he realizes, I can't, but now he's too close to the wall, and the ball hitting off of it, he's got to now chase it down. That allowed everybody to keep running.
First pitch strike to Tyler White. 25th double for Bregman. Not only does this team hit a lot of home runs, they lead the league with 169 home runs, but they hit a lot of doubles as well. This is a powerful lineup. Two of them here producing a run in the second inning. Strike two to White.
They lead Major League Baseball in the doubles that you were talking about, in home runs. I mean, we'll take a look. There it is, all right there for you. MLB ranks, by the way, not American League.
Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Chris Coors Light right there. And that says it all. 5.86 runs per game. Time call granted by Will Little, the plate umpire.
How about that slugging percentage? That slugging percentage at 500. The major league record for slugging percentage in a season is 491. I mean,
yeah, their run differential is 161. They've scored 161 more runs than they've given up. Fly ball into left. That will be caught by Dickerson. Two gone with Bregman still at second.
And here's to pay off and go back, because the Astros decided to start swinging the bats in succession. The Tim Beckham trade with Brad Miller maybe settling in, no platoon situation. Maybe that helps out Brad Miller, but on the flip side of that, you wonder what Baltimore is doing. You know, you trade for Tim Beckham, you trade for Jeremy Hellickson. Zach Britton was a guy that, you know, teams were scrambling after. You don't sell anything off. I mean, are they buyers? Apparently they are.
Yep.
I think that's one of those around the league. People raise their eyebrows at what the Orioles are doing and wondering what is the end game.
Jake Marisnick. He has 11 home runs. breaking to the bag at second and then retreating. A turn by Cobb. You know, the thing on Miller, I think you might have a point there. When you think about coming over here to play short, then go to first, then go to second, then divide time, and that's not an easy way to play. Pitch is upstairs to MARISNICK.
No, I 100% agree, and that's why I think, you know, this Tim Beckham, Brad Miller deal at second base, that was going to hang over both of their heads for the rest of the season. So you trade Tim Beckham and you say, Brad, here it is, buddy. Go out there and make us proud.
And that's a strike on the outside corner. And to Miller's credit, he's been really pretty stoic about that. Of course, he was on the DL there for a time, but you know, he has recognized his job is to play baseball and play it as well as he can wherever he plays and whenever he plays. 30 home runs last year, caught a lot of people's attention doing that. So here he is. You've got the last 2 months of the season. Just get after it and let it go. And I think that's been his. I think his approach has been good, considering that he's been all over the place.
Yeah, I would agree.
A long one. It's going to be foul. The count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Houston with a run here in the second inning on the double by Carlos Beltran and the double by Alex Bregman. Two and two.
Just missed. And a good pitch there with Will Little behind the plate, knowing that that strike zone can get a little bit wide to try to shoot that fastball there. A good idea by Cobb. When still now at 2 and 2. This is the pitch. This is your action pitch, and you want to end this AB right here.
And it's wide. He misses with the fastball, and the count is full.
Did you see the way he snatched that ball back from the catcher, from Ramos? That's his way of saying, man, I gave myself 2 fastballs away, knowing that I'm going to dot one of them, and he missed both. And that, I'm going to get under your skin a little bit. I'll do it again. Get the third one.
And he just missed right there. Thought he had the top of the zone maybe. But he walks the Houston center fielder.
Well, he ended up going back with the curveball here. And you're going to see just not enough down. Close enough to be called. It was not.
Two on. We will go to the top of the order. Here's Derek Fisher. Pitch is down. Fisher, one of the names that came up in trade talks, apparently, involving possible deals for Houston. And they did not want to give him up.
The reluctance to part with young talent, whether they be prospects or rookies in the big leagues.
They did wind up acquiring Francisco Liriano, the lefty from Toronto. He has been primarily a starting pitcher. Small amount of time out of the bullpen. 1-1. They've added him to their staff. Orioles headed to Toronto.
Well, there's talk too that he's going to pitch out of the bullpen here with the Astros, and that presents a challenge in and of itself. a completely different role. And even if you've done it before, getting reacclimated, where are you going to fit into the bullpen? How are they going to use you? Not always an easy transition.
2-1.
And by the way, if you're starting to think about a guy later in the game, later innings, then you immediately think of, well, he better have good command. He better be a strike thrower. And Francisco Liriano,
That was a problem for him as a starter.
absolutely.
Where he had a little more rope.
Right. So how are you going to do that when you're coming in to get a couple of outs or to pitch 1 inning? You don't have time to settle in. You better be, blistering fastballs into that zone right when you come out of the bullpen, and that's not been his strong suit at all.
And the runner goes to third. Successfully in. Bregman with his 10th stolen base of the year. 3-1 on Fisher. First and third now.
Catching the Rays by surprise. It never really stopped, constantly moving, and he's going to get in there easy. In fact, Wilson Ramos was looking to maybe try and cut down Jake MARISNICK if he had headed towards second. He bluffed to start and retreated back to first, so there was nowhere for Ramos to go with the ball.
So Fisher's up in the count. 3 balls and a strike. And that one missed. Well, Cobb not getting the top of the zone. He walked MARISNICK with a pitch up there, and Fisher has walked on a pitch up there, and the bases are loaded.
With the wrong guy coming to the plate.
Jose Altuve.
Now that pitch looked to be right there. Alex Cobb wondering, where it was. 2 close ones, and it leads to 2 walks, and now you've got a big at-bat here early in the game.
Altuve singled into center his first time. So a major situation right here. Up and away with the fastball.
Did you see him jump on that heater? He came out of his mechanics right there. He got a tough hitter at the plate and really overthrew that fastball. Good velocity at 94, but look how he just really tries to air that one out, misses wildly, and falls behind.
There's a strike on the edge. 1-1. Altuve came into the game leading the major leagues in hitting .313 with men in scoring position. The 1-1. He goes after it and fouls it out of play. 1-2. Since July the 4th, Altuve has hit .511. We're closing out the month of July here tonight. .368 right now. SOUZA makes a nice play and throws it to third. Down to second base goes Altuve. Bregman scored. MARISNICK scored. Fisher winds up at third. That ball took a bounce back to the right of SOUZA. He made a barehanded pickup, but Houston with 2 more runs home, and it's 3-0.
I'll tell you what else he did, Dwayne, is after he barehands this ball, nice job by Altuve staying inside the breaking ball. and then shooting it to right field. This ball bounces up behind Souza Jr., but then watch what he does with it. He turns and airmails it, and as soon as he does that, Altuve walks into second base. He was going to keep him at first, but so much air under the throw, Altuve jogs into second, and now the Astros second and third after the run-scoring hit by Altuve.
3 hits and 2 walks in the inning. Second and third now. Altuve driving in 2 runs. Yuli Gurriel is going to be the hitter. Ground ball, shortstop. Echeverria makes the throw, and Duda digs it out. 8 men come to the plate. Houston scores 3-0 after 2. On Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by your local Ford dealers and by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Rays in Houston tonight, beginning a 4-game series. Houston putting up 3 in the bottom of the second. The Rays come in to hit in the third. Altuve driving in 2 of those runs to give him 61 on the year. And here is Malik Smith.
How about that?
Inside.
Those 2 runs driven in, Dwayne, that you just mentioned. That's now 4 hitters in this Astro lineup that have at least 61 runs driven in. They've got 6 that have at least 53 runs driven in. So even, the Rays catching a break, Springer and Correa, and we saw their numbers earlier, both over 300, 47 home runs combined between the 2, but there's still trouble throughout. Rays have already seen that here in the early going.
Smith fouls it out of play, 1-2. Well, coming in, tops in runs scored and outscoring the opposition by over 160 runs. Tapper, that will stay fair. Tyler White makes the play unassisted at first. So 1 out on the ground ball to open the third. Now Adeiny Echeverria. Echeverria overall at 255, with the Rays now 239. No ball, no strikes. Charlie Morton, 6'5", 220, 33-year-old right-hander. And it's 2-0.
And he's one of those guys, too, that doesn't take complete advantage of being 6'5". He's got a little bit of a lower arm angle, but what that allows him to do is he's still able to create some leverage, but then you get that crazy movement. And sometimes you're seeing right here, it's not going to catch the plate. Yanked that fastball badly, too.
2 balls, no strikes here. The count on Echeverria. And he's on. So the Rays get a base runner with 1 out. We'll go back to the top of the batting order. Corey Dickerson. He walked on 4 pitches his first time. A pitch missing down and in. Mortensen originally to the big leagues in 2008 with Atlanta, then with Pittsburgh, back and forth between the major leagues and AAA from 09 through 15. In just 4 games a year ago with the Phillies, 1-1. He had some serious hamstring issues. In fact, he's had a number of physical issues in his career. It has not been easy for him to stay healthy.
It's not been easy for him to find the strike zone here with 1 out, and you hope that the Rays can take advantage of that. And it's unfortunate, too, because you see the natural ability that this kid has.
And it's too low. He misses again. So it's 3-0.
7 straight out of the zone. And he's not been able to command the fastball. He's missed with a couple of breaking balls in this at bat. He missed with the changeup. He's tried everything that he has.
So similar to the way he pitched Dickerson to start this game. Now he gets a strike and it's 3-1.
Well, the Rays are either going to get another base runner here, or Corey Dickerson is going to get a good pitch to hit.
Rays trying to answer the 3 scored by the Astros in the bottom of the 2nd. And Dickerson takes that one. He thought it was low, called a strike, and now the count is full.
Both of them. Kevin Cash thinking it's down 2, and they've got a point.
Full count. Echeverria off first. And a fly ball back into left field. That's got some carry and will get out of here to the opposite field. Home run by Corey Dickerson. His 20th of the year. A 2-run blast, and the Rays are on the board to make it 3-2. RBIs 41 and 42 for Dickerson. Well, he thought the 3-1 pitch was low. It was called a strike. And the 3-2 pitch he hit out.
And he thanked Will Little as he walked by for calling that a strike. He got one of those breaking balls. He tried to backdoor it. And Corey Dickerson stays on it. And look how he goes out and gets it. And he's got the kind of power. And And he can reach those seats out in left field up above the high wall. It's a short porch. That's how you get back into a game.
Yeah, that wall, that scoreboard out there, 19 feet high. And then out into left center, it goes as high as 25 feet. And here's Lucas Duda with a high popper on the left side. Gurriel is there to make the catch. Up in shallow left. 2 gone. So Dickerson getting the Rays on the board. You know, in the last 10 days now, he's hit 3 home runs, starting with the one on the 21st off Yu Darvish in the Texas series. A home run against the Yankees on this road trip, and now this one in Houston. Longoria looks at a strike. Down to third. Gurriel with the pickup. Throw to the foul side of the bag, but White, being right-handed, got that left hand and that big first baseman's mitt into foul territory to handle that. Rays get on the board. A walk to Echeverria and a 3-2 pitch home run to the opposite field by Corey Dickerson. Closing the gap to 1. Bottom of the third coming up, and the catcher Brian McCann's going to lead it off. Number of Rays fans here in Houston tonight. We've seen Rays fans popping up in New York and Houston on this road trip. Brian McCann takes the breaking ball, and that's in there for a strike.
Well, New York, a destination, of course. And then Houston, not that bad of a flight from the Tampa-St. Pete area, and an awesome ballpark.
Yep.
That you hope someday that the Rays could model something like this.
Yeah, I think this would be perfect. Pick it up and transport it right over there.
Yeah, it's got a smaller footprint than you're used to.
It certainly does. Ground ball headed up the middle and a base hit. So McCann, who's been tough on Cobb, gets his first hit against him tonight. Well, center field is different this year. Tal's Hill is gone from out there, and it went from 436 feet to 409 feet. The Astros think last year it cost him 10 home runs to be that deep. So now it's 409. And no hill, all level playing surface out there, and all center fielders do not complain about that.
No, No. I mean, this game's hard enough, and especially a ball that's hit over your head that you're trying to run down towards the wall. Not only do you have to worry about the wall coming up on you, but you've got a hill. At one point, you had a flagpole. I mean, there's all sorts of impediments out there that going to become difficult. I'll tell you, I love that. That batter's eye is sharp. That's a great look. And I love how the home team says, you know what, that hill out there, 436, that cost us at least 10 home runs. Yeah, you built it.
Yep.
You built it.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about this, when you change dimensions, you know, you change the way pitchers work too. Pitchers would work this park short down the left field line, deep to center. And so they try to take advantage of how deep it was to center and work that way. They pitch to the ballpark.
Yeah, you see that in these quirky little ballparks. You're going to pitch a right-handed hitter away, and you're going to force him to beat you to the big part of the field. You got to be very careful coming in because it is such a quick turn, and even balls that are mishit can get out.
Gaddis with a foul pop, right side, and playable due to in front of the dugout makes the grab. So that is the first out. By the way, we saw Steven Souza Jr. limping a bit in the dugout, but he is out there in right field, still in the game. So that's a good sign to have his ability and his bat still in this game.
You remember that pitch that he fouled off of his stride foot, and it missed the padding that was there to protect the inside of that ankle and a little bit of the foot.
Beltran sends a towering fly ball into center field. Malik Smith is there to make the catch. That's the second out. Well, we'll go back to that Steven Souza at bat. That was in the second inning. Oh man, direct hit.
Yep, and he hit that ball hard too. And you could see him limping on that left foot right there. Yeah, that didn't look very promising right there. So very good to see him still out there.
That's right. There's Alex Bregman.
Would you go with the cheat sheet, the defensive cheat sheet in the back pocket, or would you wear the quarterback wrist and just, you know, peek down at that thing?
There's a strike. I actually, just off the top of my head, I think I'd go with a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Put it in the back pocket.
That seems to be what everybody goes with. That'd be tough to make that.
Base hit into center field. McCann moves up.
I'd say with this Astros lineup has hit a number of balls hard in this ball game, even some that have gone for outs.
And 6 hits, 3 runs. And so far, no strikeouts for Cobb, a couple of walks. That's the other thing about this Houston lineup. They hit the ball hard, and they hit it often, and they hit it far. And their strikeout rate is the lowest
in the game.
Yeah.
It's remarkable what this offense leads Major League Baseball in. All of the different categories in a good way.
Yep.
All those power numbers, slugging, on-base percentage, runs per game, batting average, home runs, doubles, all of that. And then, like you said, then they don't strike out. Usually that comes with a, you know, all of that great production, but you're going to punch out a lot because guys are turning it loose. They don't. Pretty remarkable.
Tyler White. Which is wide. 1 ball, no strikes. Alex Cobb, 29 years old, making his 22nd start of the year here tonight. 2 men on, 2 men out. And he picks up a strike from Will Little. 1-1 to White. 2-1. Houston starting play tonight, 68 wins, 36 losses. And they played even better on the road than they have at home. They're 30-21 at home, and on the road, 38-15. They've lost 15 games all year on the road with 38 wins. White stepping back. And will be fouled. Not a lot of room down there. You get to about 4 or 5 feet of foul territory when the stands come out close to the foul line there. It's 2-2.
They swing some angry sticks, and this is that liner, how close it was. A few feet, get some hooking action on that shot by White.
Well, that could be the difference between a 1-run game and a 3-run game.
You'll take any break that you can possibly get against this lineup and move on. And that's what Alex needs to do right here. Big pitch 2-2. You don't want to get 3-2 and allow these runners a full head of steam.
There is that 2-2 pitch. Chopped to third, foul. Will be done again. Houston lost to Detroit 13-1 yesterday. Tyler White pitched the 9th inning. Got to start at first and then moved over to pitch.
It's Little League style.
Upstairs with a fastball. 3-2. Cobb tried to rush that one up there and missed high.
We've seen that a couple of times from Alex here in this ball game, understanding how potent this lineup is and trying to jump on a few fastballs here and there. Well, these runners, off they go. Big pitch here.
The 3-2, there they go, and a ground ball past the diving Longoria. McCann heads to the plate. He'll beat the throw. Stopping at second. Bregman on White's base hit. And the Rays down by 2, 4-2.
Now another hard hit ball by the Astros. A full count. And I'll tell you something right now. This is the thing. Mislocation. Tried to go away. That ball came up and in. If the runners aren't going, McCann does not score here. That's why it matters. You don't think it matters if he's not running on a full count. He is not going to score. He's either going to be held up at third or he would have been thrown out at the plate.
Here's the number 9 hitter, Jake Marisnick. Drew a walk in the 2nd inning and scored a run. And hits it one to out, and that one will get out of here. Pitch fastball. Marisnick hits it out, a 3-run home run. And with one swing of the bat, it's a 5-run game.
Marisnick, in his first at-bat, hit a long foul ball, home run distance. Put a good swing on it. He got another fastball in here, and this one he is able to keep fair, and these are the killers. The 3-run shots are the killers.
That's the 5th home run given up this year by Cobb to start an at-bat. And Marisnick jumped all over the fastball, and there was no question upon contact. Now 7-2 Houston. Ball 1 to Fisher.
Well, it looks like, you know, every once in a while you've got to be able to do this. A shootout. You got to win a shootout. And you go to the other side. Charlie Morton has not been extremely sharp out there on the mound, so that's what they're going to have to do.
Look at long one to right field, and that's going to get out. Back-to-back. Derek Fisher hits his 3rd home run of the year. Fisher lines it into the seats in right. It's 8-2.
This is the greatest team in the history of the game. I mean,
they're doing things in terms of home runs scored, low strikeouts, lots of walks. They're doing it all.
And this lineup's doing it tonight without George Springer, without Carlos Correa, and they're still hitting the ball extremely hard up and down this lineup. Another shot right there, this time by Fisher. Well, they're coming off of a series in Detroit where they lost 2 out of 3 and they got embarrassed yesterday. So this is a team that is ticked off.
Well, they scored 1 run, 3 runs as it turned out. They scored their first run on back-to-back doubles in the 2nd inning by Beltran and Bregman. That led to a 3-run inning. And now a big 3rd inning, including back-to-back home runs by MARISNICK and Fisher. And to strike the count on Jose Altuve. That's upstairs, 1-1. A 5-run 3rd. All the scoring coming with 2 outs.
That's what hurts. You know, you were down to Tyler White, a 2-2 count. And boy, oh boy, has it unraveled from there.
High fly ball into left. Dickerson will catch it. 8 men come to the plate. 5-run score, and it's 8-2 Houston. Brought to you by your Southern Chevy dealers and by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Houston jumping out to this lead through the first 3, 8-2. Logan Morrison leads off the 4th for the Rays, and the pitch is a strike from Charlie Morton.
Well, here's where, if you're the Rays offensively, you say, what do we got to lose? You know, what do we got to lose? They just put up a big inning. We can do the same thing. We've got some firepower on this side too, so let's give them a run.
Strike 2 call on Morrison. So MARISNICK and Fisher there. They hit the back-to-back home runs in the third. High pop-up, foul ball. Tracked by MCCANN, and he will not have room. That one just into the field seats. Rays have some action in the bullpen. Chase Whitley is throwing now. Another one airborne, short left for Beltran. One away. Steven Souza Jr. He struck out in the third when Morton struck out 4 in a row, accounting for all 4 of his strikeouts tonight. Pitch is too low. The ball, no strikes.
You know, you'll see that a lot. Charlie Morton has struggled with the arm side fastball. And so that was a fastball they wanted to come in on Steven Souza Jr. with, and you can see with the delivery, he just didn't trust himself to be able to get it in.
There's a high fly ball back into straightaway center. MARISNICK back in front of the wall of room, and he makes the catch. Goes to the right field side of straightaway center, not quite to that 409 sign. A long fly ball and an out off the bat of Souza Jr.
That ball was hit high, hit very hard, and just not quite deep enough. Charlie Morton's body language said he thought it was trouble, but MARISNICK gets all the way back there with just a couple of feet to spare.
Now Brad Miller. Strike 1.
Still some discomfort there from Steven Souza Jr. That ball that he pounded off his foot early in the game. And Ron Porterfield still angry at his gun. By the way, he came all the way to the back of the plane last night to let me have him.
Yep.
For calling him out last time.
Really?
I said, well, you like he's doing right now. That gum did nothing to you. There's no reason to chew it so angrily. He said, hey man, I'm under a lot of stress. I try to keep these guys healthy. Now lay off.
That's right.
And off he went. He's the best.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
I tell you,
that whole crew.
Yes.
They're just great.
When I signed with this team as a non-roster invitee to camp, coming off the second Tommy John, he called me personally to go through the history of my 2 surgeries and everything else. Now, like I said, I'm a non-roster invitee to camp, and this is shortly before camp. We're on the phone for an hour and 15 minutes. He took out of his day to get to know the background before I got down to camp. For I was a nothing on that team.
Well, hey, he's a, you bandy this term around, a true professional.
Yeah.
He is.
No doubt.
This whole staff. And they work, you talk about tirelessly. Into left center field. That ball is going to drop, a base hit. It will be picked up by Beltran, and Brad Miller has a 2-out single. Yeah, that staff is something else with the not only the professionalism and the expertise, but just the time and effort they put in. One of the jobs in baseball, all those guys, that is overlooked in terms of you don't get a lot of recognition for it outside the game and maybe outside the clubhouse, and boy, they deserve it.
And it's year round. Yeah, how many people in the offseason are working out at the Trop and coming in, and they've got to get all their medicals ready for the following season. Guys they may sign, guys that they're maybe looking to trade. Paul Harker, another member of that crew.
Yep.
They are the best, and that was my introduction to them as a group and to Ron Porterfield as an individual. And you're just like, wow, I mean, if this is going to work, it's going to work with these guys, because they are so on the ball and so attention to detail and thorough. And just great guys on top of it.
Yep. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wilson Ramos at the plate with a man at first, 2 gone. High chop down to third. Oriole will take the throw to second with a forced play on Miller. And we're headed into the bottom of the 4th, 8-2 Houston. Bottom of the 4th inning in Houston. The Rays have made a splash all summer. Now kids get a chance to dive in next Sunday when the Rays play host to the Milwaukee Brewers. Kids 14 and under receive swim goggles presented by 7-Eleven. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Alex Cobb, 3 innings and a tough 5th inning.
Well, you had the base runners running in a full count. White gets the base hit, and MARISNICK right there is able to turn it into a 3-run blast. And then how about Derek Fisher coming up after that with a line drive into the right field seats? And all of a sudden, where you had runners on first and second, a 2-2 count, and we're talking about making a big pitch and getting out of that inning, it just unraveled in a hurry. And now Alex Cobb finds himself out of the game.
Chase Whitley takes over, facing Yuli Gurriel. The pitch is down. So a 3-inning start tonight for Cobb. 8 runs, 9 hits, a couple of walks, 2 home runs. And now a liner into center field, and that ball kicks away from Alex Smith. Gurriel's going to head into second, and he's in there with a double.
Well, a tough chance there from Alex Smith, and this is, we've seen him struggle with line drives hit right at him earlier this season, but this one right here, he gets a pretty good read on. It's just a matter of trying to come up with that catch, a very difficult catch coming in on that liner, and that's the frustrating part. That ball went into the glove, and then he ejected it himself. His throwing hand ends up into contact with his glove and shoots it right out the end on a play that absolutely could have been made very difficult, but he had it.
So man in scoring position to open the inning, and now here's the catcher, Brian McCann. He takes a fastball right down the middle for a strike. Here's another look at Smith into the glove and right out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's frustrating. It's one thing if you don't get there. It's another to make all of that effort. And that ball is into the glove, and then all of a sudden, it's not. Been that kind of night so far here for the Rays.
And fouls the fastball. So Alex Cobb out of this game. His shortest start of the year. He had not gone fewer than 5 innings in a start this year. Fly ball back into center. Smith is back to catch it. Gurriel back to tag at second, and he will make third base standing up. Third base, 1 out now. Already a busy inning for Alex Smith in center as Evan Gattis prepares to bat.
And getting direction from the Rays dugout. They're going to bring that infield in. Not all the way in, but they're definitely in. And obviously that's an ode to the Rays' ability to score runs. This ballpark, not going to concede anything here, down by 6.
Pitch is up. Well, here's the thing about that. If you can get out of this, it's 8-2. If you score 2 or 3 runs, now it's 8-5.
Yeah.
And you'd be in the 5th inning.
Absolutely.
So a long way to go, and that's what the thinking is here. Gattis lines it foul. That had Gurriel ducking at third. It's 1-1. Whitley pitching against a very productive lineup. In fact, here in the bottom of the 4th inning, every hitter has been on base except for Gattis for Houston, and now he's on base. A double just fair. That gets Gurriel home, and so Gattis drives in a run with his 17th double of the year, and it's 9-2.
Boy, no let up at all. No let up in this lineup tonight at all.
Yeah, not only has everybody been on base, everybody has a hit in this Houston lineup, and we're only 1 out into the bottom of the 4th inning.
We'll get them all out of the way tonight then. Just empty the tank. It's a long series. Boy, they've come out swinging.
Carlos Beltran takes a strike.
And I mean, this is a long series. When you talk about your 4-game series, that's as long as you're going to play. And when you have all 4 night games, by Thursday, we'll feel like we have moved to Houston.
Hot shot skipping by Miller. Gattis goes to third. Miller had him played deep in the outfield grass. And Beltran hit it sharply and skipped it by him.
Beltran has swung the bat well here tonight, hit some balls hard. And this one here was a rocket shot. And Brad Miller's just going to try to olay it. And that ball just shot right by him. He didn't have a chance. Doing his best Roger Dorn.
It's Alex Bregman. Bregman 2 for 2. 2 runs scored and a run batted in. He lifts a fly ball to right. SOUZA Jr.'s there to make the catch. And the throw back to the infield, not in time as it's cut off. And Galis crosses the plate with another run. 10 runs tonight for Houston. Bregman driving in his second. Beltran remained at first.
Now we get spoiled by the Rays pitching staff. I mean, when was the last time we sat through a game like this?
I can't remember.
No. Nothing comes to mind. You don't ever see this. Jim Hickey, that hat already up off of the forehead, wondering where did it all go wrong here tonight, because it didn't take very long.
Cut and a miss by Tyler White. 2 outs, 2 runs in, a runner at first. This one is fouled back. 0-2. Down to the left side. This is Longoria on the scoop. 2-run score for Houston on 3 hits and a sacrifice fly. 10-2 through 4. For the Rays as we go to the 5th. Rays in 7-Eleven, bringing a $7.11 ticket to Rays fans. Visit a local participating 7-Eleven store and pick up a Rays discount coupon for the game next Friday against the Brewers. Alex Smith starts this inning by swinging and missing. While you're at the 7-Eleven, cool off with a big gulp and a Rays branded Big Gulp Cup for only 79 cents in stores through August. Alex Smith grounded out to first in the 3rd inning, and down 0-2 here in the 5th. Danny Echeverria is on deck, and then Corey Dickerson. And a 3-pitch at bat. Smith out on strikes.
Charlie Morton, a ton of runs here to work with. His offense has staked him to an 8-run advantage here at 10-2. And how about that pitch? That's that breaking ball. See where the thing starts?
Yep.
That's why he nullifies left-handed pitching. That makes the home run by Corey Dickerson very impressive.
Well, it's turned his career completely around. He had difficulty against left-handed hitters for a long time. Tried to figure out how to get him out. Well, he's figured it out with a great curveball.
To the tune of better than any other right-handed pitcher in the game.
Yep.
You know, and the thing that's impressive too is he's able to start that thing that far off the plate to a lefty. Look where he works on the mound. He's on the far first base side. Throws a little bit across his body, not much, just a little bit.
One and two. And then the velocity. You know, he started this year, that pitch right there at 94. Earlier this year, the Rays saw him earlier and scored some runs off him. But he was 96, sometimes 97. Too wide, 2-2. And we touched on it earlier, didn't get into much detail, but it has not come easy for him. And even tonight, 72-96, the range of his velocity. But he's had to overcome a lot of physical challenges as well. The ball's going to hang up, and MARISNICK makes the catch. 2 gone. You go back to 2011, he had a torn labrum in his left hip. Let's see, that was 2011. He had Tommy John surgery in 2012. By 2014, he started to have problems with his right hip. Surgery there.
Well, as long as he can avoid the stenosis.
I'm telling you.
Stay away from that.
Problems with both hips and Tommy John surgery.
And I'm going to tell you something. You don't think too much of the hips for a baseball player, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher. You're not kidding. Because it all starts with the legs. Everything is transferred through the hips.
Well, and when you think about it, the wear and tear, and when you've had issues with your hip, I mean, you come back, have surgery on both of them, your hips are integral in every delivery you make. A lot of stress.
Yeah. Oh, I can feel the difference in my right hip, my landing leg.
Yep.
You know, from all the years of driving, landing, and torquing over the top of that thing, it you know.
I would have to believe that every pitcher has some effect, feels the effects of that.
You would certainly think if you've done it long enough. I mean, there's a lot of maintenance that you can do to help out, but at the same time, you know, Charlie Morton is doing this all over that left leg, land, reach, torque, boom, and you know, you don't get that same working the other way on the other leg, and so there is a little bit of imbalance that can start to develop. There's no question. Byung-Hyun Kim, you remember him? He used to, after outings, go into the batting cage after a game and throw his pitches, his delivery left-handed to do just to balance it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
It makes some sense. Tap foul, 1-2. I mean, when you think about the number of pitches from the time you're young as an amateur You get into pro ball, minor leagues, major leagues, the number of pitches and the wear and tear that goes into that. It's actually staggering if you start to tabulate it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball misses. Rays scored a couple runs in the 3rd inning on a home run by Corey Dickerson. That made it a 3-2 game at the time. It was 8 Astro runs ago. It's 10-2 now.
How about that for some pitch tracks right there? Or fox tracks. Start up and away and work your all the way down to down and in, almost a straight line.
He's working an angle.
We'll see if he's able to.
We've seen a few people work ankles.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yes, we have. Doesn't always turn out that well.
That's right. Want to be on the up and up. This one is down. So the count is full, 3-2 on Corey Dickerson. Lucas Duda on deck. Ground ball. Throw to first by Altuve. 3 up, 3 down go the Rays. Houston coming in to bat. 10-2 ball game. Fifth inning, Houston leading this game and coming in to hit. Super Rays fans assemble Saturday when the Rays take on the Brewers. First 15,000 fans receive a Rays-themed Marvel Iron Man figurine presented by Crown Automotive Group. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Swing and a miss by MARISNICK, who has walked and homered tonight. Hands came off his bat as he swung through that first pitch, and he's taking a moment to collect himself a bit up there.
And it did not look like it felt very good at all.
And that tried to hold up at a little difficult time, and you see the Houston dugout concerned right there.
Just wonder if he's going to be willing to commit to his swing. And if he does, what's the end result going to be? He didn't look good on that first swing, obviously pulling that hand off the bat. And then the second one, just kind of feeling for that ball. Wasn't even really a swing.
He swings and hits a towering fly ball back into left. If that's fair, it's gone. It is gone. Well, nothing wrong with him right now. He's hit his second home run of the night, his 13th of the year. And the Astros continue to pour it on.
He pulled the rope-a-dope. Rope-a-dope. Oh, my hand. And then he does this with 2 strikes, no less. Got a breaking ball that stayed in, and he wrapped it right down the line. A towering shot.
Now the top of the order. The strike call to Fisher. 3 home runs tonight by Houston, 2 by MARISNICK, and the other by Fisher, who's up there right now.
Well, how many games in a row now have the Rays given up a home run?
This foul ball off
18.
the Rays catcher Ramos. 18.
18 consecutive games of the Rays giving up a home run. And
A little walking a baseball out to the mound to give Ramos a little time to recover.
So this gets him. That right toe snuck right under that padding.
Ramos working his way through it. 2 strikes the count to Fisher. It's a strike at the knees. Fisher caught looking. That is the first strikeout for Rays pitching tonight. It comes in the 5th inning.
Well, we talked about this team. They have the fewest strikeouts in Major League Baseball. But even so, surprising that it took that long in a game that the strikeout is, I mean, it's so in vogue. But it's been that kind of a night. Astros have come out ready to play.
Altuve lines one into left, and that's caught by Dickerson as he goes down, takes a knee out there to make that catch. And Altuve is out number 2.
Another hard hit ball. Even though it goes for an out, these guys continue to swing an aggressive bat. You see it right there, that ball hammered. He's sinking fast there at the end, and Corey Dickerson has to go down. Nice play. And we're going to see Corey Dickerson out in left field quite a bit here the rest of the season. And I'll tell you what, deservedly so. He's played a nice left field for the Rays. You know, you thought he was going to get a lot of DH time, and he did. But when they've put him out there, he's played well.
Well, part of his offseason emphasis last year not only was to make himself a better hitter, but a better outfielder as well. And all around, he's been that, a better hitter and a better outfielder. So his plan has worked out. He made the All-Star team this year.
Voted in too, and that's impressive. Voted in as a DH, just continued to climb the ranks until that final vote came out, and he had held on.
And appreciated that.
Yes.
You know, he saw that as the honor it was. Something special in a player's career. And to be voted in like that makes it even more special. Popped up. Ridley directing the traffic for Ramos in foul territory. A home run, a run scores, and we go to the 6th. 11-2 Houston. Out of the 6th inning in Houston, where it has been all Houston tonight. 11-2. They've out hit the Rays 13-2. And here's Lucas Duda to open the 6th inning against Charlie Morton. Pitches a strike. Morton with all this run support. 5th time this year the Astros have scored 10 or more runs for Morton, and it's the 3rd time in his last 5 starts. Pitcher could get used to this kind of thing.
Wow, you talk about pitching on the right night.
Duda down in the count. Center field. MARISNICK is there to catch it. 1 away. Evan Longoria with a strikeout and a ground ball to 3rd. 0 for 2. Inside to Evan. and the Astros opening a 4-game series. The 7-game homestand for Houston. It's foul back, 2-2. Morton started this game. Walked Dickerson on 4 straight pitches. He fell behind Duda. Came back to get him. Then he struck out Longoria and Morrison. Fly ball, short right center. Fisher coming on in a hurry to make the catch. 2 up and 2 down. Well, the best records in the major leagues. We're talking about all the Astros have done. Look at the Dodgers over in the National League, 74-31. And they've just acquired Hugh Darvish for that rotation. The Astros not making a big deal. They got Liriano.
Well, the Nationals went after bullpen help. The Diamondbacks picked up J.D. Martinez earlier this month. Everybody trying to make a move, and that's why, you know, even though the Astros second best record in the game, why a lot of people around here feel like, hey, you know, they've done enough. And listen, no 25-man roster is perfect. There is always ways to upgrade your team. I don't care how good you are. And so to not go out there and do something, and I'm sure there's a lot of disappointed guys in that clubhouse, and I'm sure even more so with the fans. Actually, we know that with the fans. We heard about it on the way in.
We did. That's fouled right back. 2-1.
Meanwhile, the Rays extremely busy the last few weeks and the last few days.
Yeah, when you look at the Rays have tried to bolster that bullpen and give Kevin Cash a lot more options there. Not necessarily working out tonight. You've got to be in a position to use that bullpen as they did yesterday, pulling out the stops to win that game over New York and get out of town with a win there. Borges has moved into the on-deck circle. Steven Souza Jr.'s spot. Ground ball foul down beyond Rocco Baldelli, and the count is 4.
And you hope and you're just hopeful that it's precautionary. You know, we saw Souza Jr. limping after fouling that ball off of his foot, and with the game getting out of hand, maybe just get him off his feet, start to get some treatment on that thing.
Yeah, sooner you can attend to that, the better. Morrison, a little bit of that one to foul it. Morrison with a strikeout and a fly ball to left. Got a little piece of that one. Yeah, if you think about what the Rays have acquired since the 23rd, that's just in the last 8 days. Steve Cishek, Lucas Duda, Dan Jennings, and Sergio Romo. And if you go back over the last few weeks, 6 weeks or so, Danny Echeverria and Trevor Plouffe. That is low. He draws the walk. So the Rays get a base runner with 2 outs. And that will get Peter Borges up here. He'll be hitting in the place of Steven Souza Jr. Here's that ball 4.
The breaking ball He takes it below the zone. Logan Morrison goes out, strong enough to hold up, and earns a well-deserved walk right there. Tough AB.
Gorgeous. Swung and missed at that opening fastball. Chop toward the middle. Altuve across his body with the throw to first. Gorgeous out, and the Rays leave a man. Bottom of inning 6 coming up. 11-2 Houston. To play right field as we move into the bottom of the 6th inning. Steven SOUZA Jr. lifted for the pinch hitter, so Smith slides to right. Peter Borges now patrols center field. Trevor Plouffe in the game at third base. So the Rays get a couple of their starters off their feet. 1-0 the count to Brian McCann, the Houston catcher. Rays employ the shift against him. And it's a 2-ball, no strike count. Upstairs, tried to throw the breaking ball, it stayed way up. That's a strike. Well, Houston not finished with July, but in 24 games, and this one not complete, they've had a very big offensive month. It's a foul ball. They've hit 44 home runs in 24 games, averaging, coming into this game for July, almost 7 runs a game. We'll have to calculate it and see how close they're going to be. They had averaged 6.96 runs a game in July.
Well, then they're going to go over 7. They're going to go over 7. And
it's pitches high to McCann.
You know, it's just when you watch this lineup, it's like one guy feeds off the next. And, you know, they lose Springer, they lose Carlos Correa, and they just continue to plug and play. And guys are They're filling in. They're filling in admirably. They continue to swing the bats well, and we saw it here tonight. It just one after the other. A lot of hard hit balls. Even some of the outs were hit very, very hard.
Here's Gaddis. Swinging and missing for a strike. Brad Boxberger up in the bullpen. One and one. Two balls and a strike.
The one thing that they need, Kevin Cash needs here tonight. You talk about a 4-game series, and the thought was always try to get into the bullpen as early as you can in the first game of a series. And obviously the Astros were able to do that, but if Whitley can give him some length, some good innings.
Popper into short left center field. Tough play. Echeverria makes the catch with his back to the infield. Echeverria taking a tumble out there. What a grab that was by the shortstop. And as courteous as he is, he attempted to replace his divot.
And it was a substantial. I'm going to tell you something. He's lucky that he didn't get hurt, because you're expecting to slide, and that knee goes right into the grass like a chart. And see how that flipped him over? He's fortunate that that did not turn out poorly for him physically. That's a nasty fall there. You go down to the knees, you're going to slide it, and it flips him right over. And that was a pretty big.
Here's the ball that gets away from Plouffe. He was looking up towards second to see if they're going to have a chance on McCann. And the ball got away from him for an error. So Plouffe, just into the game, commits the error. So after the Bonefish Grill play of the game by Echeverria on the very next pitch, Beltran reaches on the air, and there's the Echeverria catch.
It goes right. See how, boy, oh boy, he's fortunate. And he did some damage out. He may get a bill for that one. And I don't think they replaced that divot very well. You still see it from up here.
Alex Bregman, the pitch is a strike. Well, they'd still be out there trying to replace it all.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a good size one out there. One ball, one strike.
That's me right there trying to get up and down.
No, that's why I'm never out there anymore. Never.
That game's maddening.
Yes, it is. Here's Echeverria taking care of that on the infield pop. Two gone. Hey, two outs here with 2 men on. And we heard from Alex earlier, and we've found her again. How are you?
Hey there, gentlemen. I wanted to get a good look at that divot as well, so I made my way out to center field. Actually, the Astros spent over $18 million on center field renovations. You guys, there are so many bars, seating areas, Torchy Tacos, Shake Shack. I don't know, my mouth is watering out here.
You called us gentlemen. There's a fly ball back into left off the bat of Tyler White. Dickerson makes the catch. And so these two gentlemen have taken you through 6. 11-2 Houston. 16, Brad Miller launching a home run into the Rays tank. Just the second Rays player to do that. The other one being Jose Lobaton in 2013 in the ALDS. Brad Miller just dropping one in to the Rays tank there. And Brad's going to lead off the 7th inning. He'll do it against the left-hander Raymond Goudouin, making his 11th appearance.
8 2/3 innings, 9 strikeouts. Not much of a sample size here to go on. But he's got a sweet name. I've never met a Raymond spelled like that, and I've never met a Goudouin.
And here's A.J. Reed in the game. And Tyler White's going to go over to play second with Reed taking over at first.
You know, the truck makes a good point. Technically, I still haven't met him, but I've come across him. People are getting a little surly and a little cranky here with the score of this game.
Yeah. Yeah. Miller takes the ball, 1 ball, no strikes.
It started last night, really.
Yeah.
It just kind of spilled over into today.
Well, we'll have to stop the momentum here and turn a page. Two 2-0 the count. 6 innings for Morton.
You turned that page. A couple of them.
Got a little feisty.
You did well. That's everybody. That's everybody. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm already done with my coffee, and I'm not real happy about that either, because I'm flying right now, and there's no more left.
Really?
Yeah, and ballpark coffee.
Yeah.
Transparent, you know, light brown water, typically.
There's a strike. 3-1. A little herbal iced tea. How about that?
Oh, you've got a whole little system over there. I've seen that. I don't even venture anywhere near it, so as not to upset the balance that you create.
And Miller draws the walk. Hey, here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Chris Archer will be on the mound. We'll hear from him, and this will turn your day or evening around when Rich and Orestes chat with the Astros play-by-play man Todd Callis. Hard at work here, and we would expect nothing short of that. A very hard worker, and now he realizes he's been caught on camera.
God, I admire him.
What? There you are. There he is. Wave. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we've got other shots of him giving that little
We do.
hand sign.
Yeah. He pays us not to show him.
Remember when he went swimming in Arizona with his sweater on.
That's right, he did. Could never figure out how he got it on in the first place. It's so warm out there. 1 strike to count.
Look how professional he looks.
Yeah, he is professional. I mean, he means business, especially now.
How about the year that he picks to go to Houston?
Yeah. I mean, he knows how to pick them.
And maybe it's Todd pulling this team up the standings.
Yep. Great to see him.
Yeah.
He's doing a great job, as we anticipated he would. He's wondering why
he's been on
so long.
Right. Well, it's scoreboard. The scoreboard. That's why.
0-2 is foul, out of play. See, very versatile too, as we came to find out in our time with him. Come rain or come shine.
That Kansas City, that was the snow out game, right?
Yeah, that was like in May.
Yeah, absolutely. Out in the rain. He's going to get hit with a little dust storm. Dirt devil.
A little tap to third. Gurriel's going to toss that across the diamond to Reed. That's the first out here in the 7th inning. Miller moves into second base. Yep, it all began here for Todd.
Yes, it did.
One of our favorite photos of him.
Yep, doffing his hat.
Yep, after he hit one out. There it is. There it is. Our very favorite photo of young Todd Kalas. Truly a young Todd Kalas. And all this time he thought we were friends. There's the strike to Malik Smith. Couldn't have a better friend than Todd Kalas.
Best.
Yep. We're very proud of him. The chop going to be a foul ball, and it's 0-2. Ridwan, a lefty, following Charlie Morton. Rays got a couple runs back in the third on a 2-run home run by Corey Dickerson off Morton, and that was really about it. Picked up 2 hits, 3 walks off the Houston starter. We got a lot of run support again tonight. Ground ball left side. Bregman's throw getting the speedy Malik Smith.
Well, I thought there for a second that Alex Bregman took one too many shuffles before getting rid of that baseball. We know that Malik Smith can get up the line as well as anybody, and Bregman took a little bit of time there, almost too much. Tell you, Malik Smith, the way that he runs, he forces infielders to be absolutely perfect. Perfect in the way they field the ball and get rid of it. If not, it's going to be really close, or he may beat it out.
Well, Taylor Featherston will pinch hit. He goes rejoining the ball club from Durham, with Beckham sent to Baltimore. And a swing and a miss, strike one. Featherston from the Houston area, played at Texas Christian University.
Did you see how Brian McCann caught that 95-mile-an-hour fastball? I mean, I know we're reaching.
Oh.
I mean, at 95.
Yeah.
It's one thing if it's a breaking
To
ball.
get it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have reached a new low. We really have. And I blame myself.
Sometimes you're just too hard on yourself.
Well,
You're an earnest individual.
It's-
Too hard on yourself.
it seemed like a good idea at the time. See, and then they put this stuff up and
Fly ball into center field. Marisnick makes the catch, and the Rays are out in the 7th inning. 7th inning stretch time. Todd Kalas will be taking his stretch. 11-2 Astros. of them for Jake Marisnick. Derek Fisher got into the act. Marisnick and Fisher back-to-back in the third before Marisnick did it again in the 5th inning. That home run in the 5th. The 11th run of the evening for Houston in what is an 11-2 game, and Marisnick, who's been on base 3 times tonight with a walk to go along with the 2 home runs we just saw, will lead off the bottom of the 7th inning. Fans here in Houston taking their 7th inning stretch, and Brad Boxberger will be on the hill for the Rays. A 3-inning outing for Alex Cobb. They get 3 from Chase Whitley. And now Boxberger makes his 12th appearance, on with a record of 2-3. Featherston stays in the game to play shortstop. Pitch. Here's a strike. Marisnick. Then Derek Fisher. 0-2. Fastball from the Rays right-hander Brad Boxberger.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dwayne, if Kevin Cash is going to get his bullpen working the way that he wants to, he's going to need a very good Brad Boxberger. And we know, how good he can be. I mean, we've seen him in the closer's role, outstanding. His first outing when he came back this year, we looked at each other like, whoa.
He threw the ball extremely well, right off the disabled list.
Absolutely. And so this is an opportunity to kind of get things clicking right back in.
He strikes out Marisnick. First time the Rays have retired him tonight.
Oh, there you go. There's the start. Jake Marisnick's been swinging the bat extremely well down at the bottom of the order. And Brad Boxberger comes right in and takes him out. Blows him away right there with the fastball.
Now there's Derek Fisher. He swung the bat well tonight with a walk and a home run. 1 for 3. And he lines it into right field. That's going to be in there. Takes a hop, picked up by Smith. So Fisher's on for the 3rd time. It's 13 hits for Houston. MLB.com at bat. Your #1 mobile app for live Rays baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Rays home screen icons and app features, as well as game day. Live game video highlights, StatCast, and a lot more. Download MLB.com at bat today. A.J. Reed now playing first base and getting his first at bat tonight. Reed and Altuve's spot. Two and 0. One on, one out. Action in the Houston bullpen as Reed pops it up, and that's going to be a foul ball out of reach. Move down there after it. Rays now have Plouffe at 3rd and Featherston at short. Miller and Duda on the right side at 2nd and 1st. That's a strike.
And that low riding fastball. Brad Boxberger big with the fastball, the changeup. We've seen him try to incorporate the slider a little bit more this season than he has in the past.
Reed lifts it foul. That's out of play.
They're always trying to tweak your game and come up with just a little bit of a different wrinkle in coming after these hitters. You know, they do their scouting report. They know exactly what you like to do, the areas that you like to pitch. And so you're always looking to add something to keep these guys just a little bit off.
Count's going to go full. Reed got some time in the big leagues last year with Houston in 45 games out of Terre Haute, Indiana. Lifts a towering fly ball into left field, tracked by Dickerson, who makes the catch. So 2 away here in the 7th inning. El Dorado invites you to settle in with us tomorrow as the Rays take on the Astros at 8:10. 7:30 our coverage begins. And Chris Archer will be on the hill. There's a line shot through the left side, and Gurriel is on base for the 2nd time tonight. Gurriel had opened the 4th with a double, and that led to 2 runs. Now a single with 2 outs in the 7th, advancing Fisher to 2nd. And that's the veteran catcher, Brian McCann. McCann has singled and walked. Eleven Houston runs, and 7 of the 11 have been driven home by the bottom 3 in the order.
Yeah, this lineup is thick all the way through, even without the mainstays. And you start to think about this team and what they do offensively. Of course, Altuve is going to come to mind. Springer Correa not in the lineup, on the disabled list, and even so, you know, you've got trouble at the bottom of the order. They've got 11 guys on this squad, 11 that are in double-digit home runs. A couple that can't even play. You can't even get into the game. But when they do, they're productive, and we're seeing that.
Shot to center field, sending Peter Borges back a few steps. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. We go to the 8th. 11-2 Houston. Houston starting Charlie Morton tonight on the mound, 6 innings. They had the left-hander in here for an inning, and now it's Michael Felice, their third pitcher. Ron worked 1 inning, walked 1 man.
Dwayne, check that out. I'm telling you, that's as impressive a mustache I've ever seen. Ever. How long do you think that took to grow? And oh, by the way, how much product is in it to make it do that?
I'm sure it's product.
Oh, there's something in there. I mean,
I wouldn't argue that there's not something in there.
Yeah, well, some sort of product.
Could be homemade product.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, that's a great mustache right there.
And what would you call that hat? I mean, that cowboy hat right there. How would you describe that thing?
Large enough to cover the outer perimeter of the mustache.
Yeah, that is epic.
Keep that mustache dry in a rainstorm.
It would. We need to meet that guy.
You know, I'm sure Alex could make his acquaintance out there somewhere. We should work on that.
Well, you know what? Yeah, and the first question is, we couldn't help but notice the epic stash. How long did it take you to grow? How long have you had that? I mean, it's got to be his whole life. I mean, this is a Texan through and through.
Foul back by Dickerson, 2-2 here. There's the Houston right-hander Felice. Foul ball. It's still 2-2.
You know,
I think Alex is going to accept the challenge.
Well, we'll see. Well, if she could get, you know, I mean, you got to. It's a 2-man dance here,
yeah.
Or a woman and a man. Mm-hmm. He's got to agree.
Yep.
I want to know where he keeps his horse here. Because
so,
you know he did not.
I don't know if it'll
here.
be tonight, but
yeah,
you know, maybe. We're here for 4 days.
Put a little something. Yeah, that's
still
great.
Focused. We're in the 8th. It's 11-2.
He's got his throwback jersey on too, which you love those.
Yep. And the high fly ball to left field off Dickerson's bat, and he has hit another one. His second home run tonight. They give him 21 on the year. And so the Rays pick up just their 3rd hit. 2 of them home runs to left field by Corey Dickerson. But Dickerson must be wondering right now if his home park had a left field like that, and as strong as he is, how many would he hit the other way?
He gets on top of a 94-mile-an-hour fastball up and away, and you're right. I mean, his ability, he goes to the left side with ease for a left-handed hitter with great carry and with great power. He would be peppering the Crawford boxes at will playing here.
And there may be a problem here with Felice. A.J. Hench out with the training staff to take a look. And so that's going to be it. Just one hitter. It's an 11-3 ball game, and Houston will get another pitcher in here after the home run off the bat of Corey Dickerson. Dickerson on for the 3rd time, and there will be a call to the Houston bullpen, and We'll see how long this takes to get somebody loose. They may have had somebody up already. And Francis Martez will come in. So we'll get a new pitcher, the 4th of the night, as Martez enters the game. With Houston out in front, we're in the 8th inning. Florida Lottery presents the Family of the Week for live scratch-offs with a top prize of $5,000 a week every week for the rest of your life. The longer you live, the more you keep winning. That's Winfinity. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Well, Corey Dickerson connecting twice tonight. That's the positive side of the ledger for the Rays, with Houston dominating this game. But Corey's hit 2 out, and that's 21 home runs now.
You know, and you start to look at the positives that you can try to pull from this game. It's getting Corey Dickerson back and clicking offensively. Going the other way, a big plus. Going the other way with power, hitting a couple home runs, a huge plus. You start to think about Brad Boxberger and getting him back on track to be a productive member of the back end of that Rays bullpen. And really, that's what you hang your head on, because outside of that, it's been an ugly night here for the Rays.
Francis Martez, the pitcher, with Lucas Duda up there, and he's quickly behind 0-2. Martez just 21 years old, and he strikes out due to call third strike. Martez spent last year at the AA level in the Houston system at Corpus Christi and got the call right there.
Yeah, Lucas Duda is like, you're kidding. I mean, that ball was never a strike. We've seen that here tonight, though, from Will Little from time to time. The balls down in the zone that are a little bit wide. You don't like to infer that maybe the score has something to do with it, but moving things along.
This is Plouffe. 2-0.
I just said that I didn't want, you don't want to, but I did. I went there.
You went against your own will.
Yep.
And this one off the glove of White and into center field. So Plouffe is aboard. That'll be a base hit.
Man, he was positioned perfectly, and that ball was hit hard. And that's a tough backhand play to be made. You see where he's at? Line drive. Boy, a short hop on the backhand side. That's tough.
Well, remember, White started the night at first. He finished their game yesterday on the mound, and now he's playing second base. And here's Logan Morrison.
Did he throw a scoreless inning?
Pitch is down.
He threw one inning.
1-0. He threw one inning, I think.
Okay.
Yep. And that's the height of versatility. Covering the right side of the infield and pitching. Actually gave up 2 runs on 2 hits. Not the first time he's been on the mound in the big leagues.
Oh, wow.
Last August at Baltimore. Morrison ahead, 2-0 in the count. And now it's 3 balls, no strikes. 1 on, 1 out, a run home in the 8th. And there's ball 4. So after the strikeout, a single and a walk. And the Rays have a couple men on base. Reminder, every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp head to head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon weekdays from 9:30 a.m. to noon Eastern, only on FS1. Peter Borges, who pinch hit in the 6th inning, getting his second at bat of the game. Skies it up the right side and back into the stands. Rays opening this 4-game series. We have Archer against Mike Fiers tomorrow. Austin Pruitt against Dallas Keuchel on Wednesday, and Blake Snell will close it out Thursday night. Swing and a miss. 0-2. It'll be Snell and McHugh, the matchup here Thursday night. There's the breakout with you tomorrow and the following 2 evenings at 7:30. Tough outing for Alex Cobb tonight, who gave up 8 runs in 3 innings. Whitley surrendered 3 runs in 3. Oh, that pitch outside, 1-2. Morton started for Houston, allowed the Rays 2 runs on 2 hits and 6. Raymond Goudouin worked 1 inning, gave up 1 walk. Felice surrendered the home run and left. And now Martez in there. And strike 3 called on Peter Borges.
That front door breaking ball by Martez. These pitches are so tough. They come out of the hand, they're in off the plate, and just as a knee jerk, you give up on it. And that's exactly what happens here. And you can see Borges gets that foot down, that plant foot down, and then you just can't pull the trigger. Those are very, very tough pitches. You remember Mike Jackson, the old setup man?
I do.
He made a career on that front door slider right at your hip.
He was the first player who made me feel old.
Oh boy.
He was up in Seattle a long time ago. And I saw him. I'm not sure. It might have been. I don't know if he pitched in the King Dome or not.
I think he did.
I think he did. And up there, and he says he's from Houston. He says, I remember listening to you when I was a kid. And I said, shut up and go somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Want to know the count to Brad Miller, but you're right about that that slider.
At least with him, you know, guys knew that he did that, and he did it with regularity. So you could, at time to time, you could pull the trigger and swing the bat. It's when you're not expecting it. But boy, oh boy, he was so good at throwing that pitch. He would get that hat a little bit crooked, right down over his eyes, and it had an intimidating look out there on the mound, and throw that front door slider. And guys had so much trouble with that for a long time.
There's the strike. It's 2-1.
The truck is telling me that he appeared in the regular season, over 1,000 games. 1,005. Yeah. Got a chance to pitch with him in that 97 series with the Indians, you know, going through, and he was such a big part of that team. But boy, he was a great guy, but when he got on the mound, he was all business.
Yeah. Don't you love guys like that?
Yeah.
I mean, you can be that way. You can be the greatest person, but when you go out there, it's a different animal altogether. Three and one to count. Those are guys you'd like to get, all those kind of guys in clubhouse.
Oh yeah.
Those be your teammates. Full count on Brad Miller now.
Oh, I can remember playing with Bob Wickman. He was kind of like that, and then had gone to the Royals. He was still with the Indians. We were, you know, older guys with that Cleveland Indian team in 2003, and now I'm a Royal. And I went over to say something to him during batting practice, and he said, "You understand? We can talk in the tunnel, but get away from me." And I know you understand, and I did. I was like, you know what? That's old school. That's how it used to be. Now it's a big love fest.
Yeah,
big love fest.
You know, I guess I understand what they're doing, but I love that. And I had Wickman when he was in New York, so you appreciate that attitude.
You really do. I mean, the fans in the stands, they want to know that you want to do nothing more than go out there and smoke that other team. And, you know, not out there playing patty cakes with them 10 minutes before the game starts.
That's right. (3-2) is ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
We really need to get a show, because there's so much behind the scenes that if we could open that up to people, it would be so good.
Yeah, it'd have to be after the show, one of those things. Yeah, Brent Strom is going to go to the mound, the pitching coach for Houston, with the bases loaded and 2 outs. So not something that you might expect if you're the pitching coach in an 11-3 game to need to do, but he has a young right-hander out there, just 21 years old.
And he's just telling him, listen, you got great stuff. You got, you know, good breaking ball, a lively fastball. Let's try it out over the plate. We're up by 8. But you know what? You keep messing around like this, and all of a sudden this game gets a little strange.
I'm trying to keep you in this game. The manager wants to take you out. So he said, well, you go out and talk to him. I want you to stay. Just let you know.
Show me something.
Here's Wilson Ramos. And there's a strike. Dickerson's home run opened the inning. And mixed around a couple of strikeouts, a base hit and 2 walks. Bases loaded here for Ramos. And a line drive, base hit into center. Blue will score. Bases will remain loaded. And the Rays make this an 11-4 game. Morrison stops at third. Miller up to second. Ramos driving in a run. Malik Smith is going to be the hitter.
Get another hit or two, and you're going to get A.J. Hinch to venture into a part of the bullpen he doesn't want to have to use tonight.
You're absolutely right about that. Thought crossed my mind. You know, you get another couple hits and 2 or 3 runs in here, and it's a whole different atmosphere.
And that right there would be something, you know, the Rays to shoot for. Get into that back end of the bullpen. Give these guys a finish, and at least you can come away with that, or just complete one of the greatest comebacks in franchise history. Either one. I've got nowhere to go.
Yeah, Malik Smith. We've been here. We've invested all of this in this contest so far. A couple innings to go. Got a few outs to play with. Let's see what the Rays can do. Smith getting time. There on the outside part of the plate. It's 1-1. Smith, a couple of ground outs around the strikeout tonight. That's low. 2-1. Tony Sipp is up in the bullpen. Veteran left-hander. Base hit into left. That will get Morrison home. Miller goes to third. The bases are still loaded. And the Rays trying to climb back into this game here. Malik Smith with his first hit of the night.
I'm just shooting that ball the other way. And they just do not go away, do they?
Well, Featherston will be the 9th man to come to the plate for the Rays. And how about this? You know, the Rays are one swing away from a 2-run ball game now.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not impossible. Featherston pinch hit, hit a fly ball to center in the 7th inning. And he missed that one by plenty. Strike one. That's outside. Davinsky has joined Sipp in the bullpen. Two and one. Smith, Ramos, and Miller. The runners at first, second, and third. Marquez taking a little time behind the mound. And Featherston fouls it back. The pitch up near the top of the zone. 2-2. Dickerson is on deck. Might be interesting to get him to the plate again in this inning.
And you'd see A.J. Hinch out motioning for Tony Sipp immediately.
And that pitch misses. They'll run the count full. 3-2. Right-hander's pitch. Oh, he hits him. Featherston hit by the pitch. The Rays are going to get another run home, and they will get Dickerson to the plate again here in the 8th inning. So Featherston hit by the pitch. The Rays have made it an 11-6 ball game. Take another look on the 3-2 pitch. Featherston hit in the left shoulder. That's it from Martez. Call to the bullpen, brought to you by the Florida Lottery. To 6 game. They have the bases loaded with 2 gone here in the 8th inning. And Chris Davinsky, the right-hander, and look at these splits on him against lefties.
Yeah, well, this is why you don't go for Tony Sipp. You go for Chris Davinsky. 106 average. That is something else. Right on left, and that's what he's going to face here. A tough pitcher on the mound and a hitter at the plate that is heating up.
Well, Dickerson, a 2-home-run night. He opened the 8th with a home run, and here he is in the 8th again with the bases loaded. And the Rays one swing of the bat away from making it a 1-run ball game, and there's a shot up the right field line, but foul. Well, foul. That's strike 1. Both home runs for Dickerson have been opposite field shots, and the third off a curveball. The Rays on the board, and then a home run in the 8th inning off the fastball. A strike to count to Corey Dickerson. Ground ball down to first, picked up there by Reed, and the throw to the pitcher Davinsky in time to retire the side. Well, the Rays make it interesting in the 8th inning. They leave the bases loaded. We'll take another look at that play by A.J. Reed down at first. reaching down at the last moment to come up with that one. The Rays within striking distance. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Well, the Rays put 4 on the board in the 8th inning. Still down 11-6. And look who's on the mound for the Rays. Backup catcher Jesus Sucre will go to the hill.
I had stepped out for a moment, and they announced him over the loudspeaker here, and I'm like, no, that can't be. That cannot be, but here it is.
You see, you leave, things change.
Yeah, in a big way.
Kevin Gaddis leads off, and the pitch is a strike down at the knees, 0-1. One ball, one strike.
Would you have picked Sucre as the guy that would throw in this situation?
I would. Kind of surprised anyway.
Yeah.
He's done it before. Look at this in his career, trying to work on that ERA. 2 innings.
And then opponent's average.
There's a line drive, well positioned. Featherston takes care of that.
Hey, 86. Yeah, the off speed, 76, 77, 86 mile an hour heater with a little, a little bit of a lower arm angle. Trying to rush that ball to the outside corner. I like it.
Well, we like the work he does behind the plate, and now we see him on the mound. Here's Carlos Beltran.
A little sink. A little arm side run, 85. There's some tools here.
And he certainly has an idea. I mean, he sees it from all perspectives as a catcher, a hitter, and now a pitcher. Yeah, give him that call out there on the corner. 2-1.
Take a little off right there, 76. Austin Pruitt, Jake Faria, they're enjoying it. A little under that rate.
Yeah, he was. Got wound up a little bit.
Yeah, elbow came down, got around it just a tad. See if he can make the adjustment.
Keep it on the plate. So there's a walk.
That could have been strategic too. Carlos Beltran's been swinging a hot bat here tonight, hitting the ball hard.
Keep the ball away from him.
Yep.
Just not going to get him to pull it and turn it over.
And that's what he'll do right here. You need ground ball double play.
And there's Alex Bregman. A little curveball there. There you go. 1-0. Two and 0.
You know what would make this outing like just the best? A visit from Hickey.
That's a strike.
Yeah, if he doesn't come back and get Bregman here, if I'm Hickey, I'm going to the mound. That would be the greatest. Although there's nothing funny about tonight to that man right there.
No. Two balls and a strike to count to Bregman. And again, just a little off the corner there. A 3-1 count. And this one wide. So a couple of walks after the first out on the liner to short. The hitter will be Tyler White. Well, the Rays came out of that series in New York using 6 pitchers yesterday. They used 6 the day before, and in the first game of that series they used 7 pitchers. Big cut in the miss as White is thinking about trying to launch that pitch up.
No, this is great. 2 catchers talking about signs. Runner at second base now, so you got to switch the signs up. And you got Ramos and Sucre putting their heads together, coming up with a sequence here. That's too good.
It's upstairs, 1-1.
He had a ball, he didn't come set.
They did. You know, that occurred to me earlier with the guy at first, and he did not come set. And they didn't say anything. I was hoping the umpires wouldn't hear, but they noticed it there, and a balk has been called. That's a strike, and it's 1-2. So that erases that force play, double play possibility.
Yeah, but now he set himself up for a punch out. I think he directed some traffic down there in the dugout.
And a foul ball.
Did you see right there? Sucre just told Ramos what he wants to do with this pitch. While the hitter wasn't looking, he told him, "I up, climb the ladder with the heater."
See his eyes?
Yeah, they're gonna go 85, 86 at the letters. At least that's what he's gonna try and do.
And he fouls it back.
Good spoil there, but hey, good battle going on here.
Okay. All right. Two walks, 1 out, and a balk, moving men to second and third. It's popped up, a foul out of play. And Tyler White, Jesus Sucre battling it out. Rays got 3 from their starter Alex Cobb tonight. Sucre pitching in the 8th. That's 2-2. He lays off the breaker.
I wonder too how much longer they're going to go with it. Look at the pitch counts. Working hard this inning.
And now the count is full. Fly ball into right field. It's Malik Smith to make the catch. The tag at third. Beltran's going to score. Over to third goes Bregman. White drives in a run with a sacrifice fly. So 2 outs with a run home. It's now 12-6. Jake MARISNICK will be the hitter. He's been on 3 times with a walk and 2 home runs. Struck out his last time. First pitch taken for strike 1. Into the gap in left center field. Bregman scores. MARISNICK into second with a double. He has 5 runs batted in tonight. Houston with 13 runs. The Rays had 4 in the top of the inning, and Houston against Sucre 2 in the bottom of the 8th.
Right into the swing of MARISNICK, who's swinging a hot stick in this ball game, and he punches that one out there in the left center field. Astros with another run.
Derek Fisher. He takes a strike. A couple of walks in the inning, and both have scored. One and one. A ball, 2 strikes. This one headed into center field. Borges will cut it off. Run will score. Into second goes Fisher. So doubles here from MARISNICK and Fisher. It's a 3-run inning. Houston rebuilding the lead. That's a ball to Reed, who hit a fly ball to left in the 7th inning. Now 2-0. It's popped up. Third base side and caught in foul territory by Plouffe. So the 8th inning comes to a close. The Astros lead 14-6. Series from Houston will feature Chris Archer against Mike Fiers. Archer, after his 8th win of the year, his career numbers against Houston: 4-2 with a 168 earned run average. And our coverage begins at 6:30 on Fox Sports Sun. Sucre working the 8th inning. Tony Sipp on to pitch the 9th. Lucas Duda will lead off against him. And he hits a high fly ball into deep right center field. And that one is gone into the bullpen. Duda hits his 3rd home run since coming to the Rays, his 20th home run overall. And on the first pitch from Sipp, the Rays had themselves a run to make it 14-7.
Lucas Duda, I'm going to tell you something. He's been impressive to watch. He really has. I mean, at first base, how smooth he is out there, getting some time with Logan Morrison and nursing that bruised heel. And then at the plate, he's had some really good at-bats for this team. Obviously, the 3 home runs you talked about, but the number of walks that he's taken just looks to be fitting in a rather seamless transition after the trade.
1 strike to count on Plouffe. Plouffe quickly down 0-2. No, both New York and Boston winning. Baltimore won. Toronto lost to the White Sox. And that's strike 3 called. Pitch at the knees, and Plouffe reluctantly leaves the home plate area. A little chat with Will Little. Pitch down at the bottom of the zone. Logan Morrison looks at a strike. A couple of walks and a run scored for Morrison. A little tap, fair ball picked up by McCann, and the throw down is in time. So 2 gone. Peter Borges will be the hitter now. Borges 0 for 2 since entering as a pinch hitter in the 6th. Pitch is low, 1-0. Two balls, no strikes. Rays came into this game 1-2 against Houston, dropping 2 out of 3 earlier this year in April at the Trop. And they trail 14-7 right now.
Well, the wonderful thing about this sport is you have tomorrow. You get to roll out, come back here tomorrow and try to atone for this.
Fly ball, not too deep to center. MARISNICK and Fisher there. Fisher's going to make the catch. And that's it. This one is over. 14-17. and 0 for Houston, 7-7-1 for the Rays. For Brian Anderson and Alex Cordry, Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast and not the outcome. Rays Live, the postgame comes your way next, presented by WB Mason.